we are back. Lisa Waterslane's in the studio, here to answer your garden questions. So, welcome to the studio, Lisa.
Thank you.
So, the internet went down this week.
Sunday, right?
I think it was last week. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it totally went down like for the day. And retailers, if you got a computer system, you're using, I mean, like credit cards. We processed, I don't know, 1,000 credit cards with no internet. So we broke out the old, remember the old knuckle busters? Put the card in, slide this big slide over the card. It kind of imprints it, slide it back, and have
But
the
you
people.
know what's different now?
What?
You remember the old cards had the raised numbers?
Oh,
You
yeah.
could do that.
Oh,
New cards don't have raised numbers.
kidding me. Doggone it.
So you can't use the knuckle buster anymore. You actually have to write it all down.
Well, there we go. What we found was it was a rocking day. Sunday,
Nice.
the internet went down and people came in and going, well, the internet went down. We thought we'd go to the garden center. And by the time we get back, we're hoping it'll be up again. So we saw an increase in sales just because gardeners were out from behind their screens and
Yeah.
in the gardens.
It was nice. It was a good day. Good day.
It was a good day. Yeah, a nice sunny day. So, garden question. Anything going on that's super, super interesting besides bugs, death, and decay? I want to inspire people.
That's true. We did have a few people had put out their tender tomatoes and peppers,
Yeah.
and a few people kind of had some black tomatoes and peppers. And the question of the day has been, will they come back?
I sort of answered that the first part of the
Oh, you
the
did?
show, but yeah, I mean, pick off the dead leaves, fertilize them. I'd really fertilize them with the Flower Power or Root and Grow if you got some of that. These are a couple organic kind of fertilizer you could throw in there to really wake them up fast, or they'll keel over dead.
You'll know really quick.
But at least get them to decide. Don't sit there for 3 weeks
Yeah.
while they decide whether they're going to grow or not. As a gardener, you need to make the call and just I want to wait for this to come out, or I don't want to wait. I want tomatoes like before November.
Yeah, because our season really isn't dramatically long, so you got to make hay while the sun shines.
You want to make hay.
There you go.
Or tomatoes,
Or tomatoes.
if they got nipped by the frost.
Right. Well, Tom does have a question. So he's got a big piece of property, and he said the red ants are just taking over in the yard. How do you take care of those guys?
So red ants are a challenge, and they're actually easy, especially the big ant hills. What you want to do is that queen is underneath. You got to go for the queen. If you get the queen, you got the whole colony because they just die out. And so, but the queen is about 3-4 feet underneath the ground. So you need to put a bait down that the other ants will pick up, take down, and go, look, I found this special nugget of morsel just for you. Here, eat, feast, and be happy. And she goes, I'm not so happy after eating this. Keels over. And then once that happens, the ants just die from attrition. And so there's a product here at the garden center called Come and Get It. Come and Get It it's an organic. I think it's spinosad.
It is.
Is that what it is? Yeah, it's spinosad. It's a fancy new bacterial thing that they feed, and they get sick to it. So it's like a viral. You're infecting a virus into the colony, and it just goes to the colony. And so Come and Get It, sprinkles it on, and if a bird eats it, not going to hurt them. Your dogs get it on their paws and then lick their paws, not going to hurt them. So it just goes after very selective ants, not big ants, not just the red ones.
Okay.
Not the carpenter ants, not the little tiny ants that get in your closets and this kind of stuff. Just red ants, highly, highly effective. So if you got other kinds of ants, come talk to us. We can show you which one's best for that ant. But for red ants around, which are active right now,
Yeah.
Come and Get It obliterates them.
So it's not an instantaneous death. They're not going to disappear tomorrow. It does take
A couple
a
days.
few days.
Yeah, a couple days. You'll see some dead ants right away. But for the entire colony, including all of I have noticed, so when we were in Skull Valley, I was using this, and had lots of ant hills out on the farm. Every once in a while, they would come back in about 2 weeks. And I think what that was, the eggs, they take out the colonies, but then the eggs would hatch a few days later. They'd finally mature and come out. So I'd see them come back. Sometimes I'd have to rebait maybe a couple weeks afterwards. Not always. I would think right now you're catching them early enough you wouldn't have to, but just something to be aware of, personal experience.
Okay.
kind of what hurts, what works.
Okay, because those red ants are nasty. when
They can
they
bite you and really leave a mark.
They do.
Yeah.
So Elaine has a 5-year-old autumn blaze maple. It started to leaf out this year, but it only leafed towards the trunk.
Yeah.
She wants to know what happened. Is there
Yeah.
a way to save it?
So it's saved because it's growing. That's good. It's just the heart of it is just alive. So those dead branches coming out, extending, the only way to get past that is to prune off those old branches that were damaged by winter. It got dry, and so it self-pruned itself back to keep the core alive, the heart of the plant alive. And so you'll cut those off, fertilize it, water it real deep, and encourage that new growth to really, you want to push for autumn blaze maple with a massive root structure. You should be able to push 3, 4, 5 feet of growth this year. Just if you just encourage it,
Okay.
it'll grow its way past that. And so that one's encouraging. There's some alive. Some of them have actually reset down to the ground, and the suckers are coming down right from the base. That sucker is coming up. There's no way you've lost the plant. Just it's worthy of a chainsaw. Start over. So anyway,
Yeah, a lot of that happening this year.
that's just when it's just drought year, and you haven't tweaked or tuned up your irrigation. That will happen.
That is true. All right, Lori would like to put a rose tree into a pot.
Nice.
She wants to know what size pot she needs and how frequently will she need to water that rose.
I have noticed, Laura, you're not allowed to use the word pot on the internet or Facebook because they'll take it right down off the feed. So you're instantly container. What size container? Not what size pot can I grow? Anyway, just personal experience again. Kind of what I found.
Who would have thought?
A rose bush you can grow for many, many years in a good sized pot. Now, with containers, yeah. Thank you, dear. You always make me better. You keep me honest. You make me an honest man. Yeah, never mind. Anyway, get an ant crawling out your face. Got it? Yeah,
Who is talking about?
I know. Hey, anyway. Only the people watching the video can see that. People tuned in from the radios, they don't see what's going on.
I was just amused.
She's got ants coming out of her hair, this big gold hair. Anyway, where were we at? Yeah, Lori. So a rose, I would say go at least minimum 18-inch size across and deep. If you can go 20, 24-inch, bigger pot the better. And it's all about the soil quantity. Doesn't matter the shape. It could be a skinny pot or a low fat kind of squatty pot. You just want at least that kind of soil volume, at least 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet of potting soil. It will grow a rose for many, many years, even a bigger rose. I would say up to a hybrid tea, a floribunda, many of the shrub roses, even the carpet roses. If it's if you want to grow a vining type climbing rose, you want to trend towards the bigger size of that, 24 inches across. And then if you're going to water midwinter, if you water that pot, especially if a cold front's coming through, and before the cold gets here, water that container, and it will help that plant go right through like it was nothing. You don't have to cover it. You don't have to bring it close to the house. You can just leave it right out there. A rose bush is really robust. Just make sure you water it midwinter, and it will grow for decades. We've got some that are ancient. I mean, I'm starting to get bored with them going, it's time for you guys to go. I want a yellow one instead of a red rose. So that's the size. Come and see us. We just got a fresh load. Our summer mix of pottery just came in. We can help you select, show you the right size, and that goes with your plant.
I think we got time for another quick one. So Dan would like to know if he can put a Kimberly Queen fern outside for the summertime.
You can put a fern outside. This is a house plant. It's a tropical indoor plant. But yeah, you can go outside. No sun. So a covered patio, covered porch, covered deck, where it's warm, but not direct sun. Maybe a little morning sun would be fine, but that midday heat, that's going to make a fern that likes a more humid kind of climate, going to make it struggle. So yeah, bring it out, keep it in the shade, and it will thrive for you.
Okay.
All right, Ken and Lisa Lane, great questions this week. Be right back. You're tuned into The Mountain Gardeners.